Move Think Smile specializes in conquering work-related stress, anxiety, fatigue, and the problematic side effects so you can achieve real, lasting peak performance in your career and relationships. This podcast is about answering one question. How can you turn all your burnout into a badass who says no to garbage and enjoys more of what's good so you can finally feel alive again while being a hero at home and work? All this information is 100% free, so please subscribe to and review our podcast.
All right. Hey, everybody. Looks like we're live.
Hey, guys. It's Ellie and Adam, and we're here today to talk to you guys about the 7 steps to end burnout. And we want to dive into the very first one today, which is we want to ask you this question about how comfortable your comfort zone is.
Before we get into there, let's do something really quick, and let's define something. Let's distinct between what is burnout and what is badass, because that's what this group is all about. And burnout, I don't know if we need a whole lot of definition there. Burnout's pretty much when you're like, I'm done.
Yep.
I'm feeling stressful symptoms, either anxiety, fatigue, overwhelm, anger. Burnout's kind of like something that encompasses, it's a mixture of things, right? And there's a little bit of everything that's in there. I think it's really important to understand that everybody has a different form of burnout. I know that when we went through it, I watched Elia have extreme fatigue. She had extreme physical problems. They sent her to the hospital. They sent her to the doctors. They were testing her for super scary physical symptoms like Parkinson's and MS. And I was sitting back and I just went to anxiety. Nirvana, right? If there is such a thing. And I was scared. And I took it out on a lot of different ways. And it took us a long time to, one, stop the burnout, and then to actually recover took us years. And guys, that's not what we want for you. We want to shorten the process. And if you're ready to turn your burnout to badass, you guys are in the right place. So Elliot, tell us a little bit about what is badass.
Yeah, so badass is really, we want you guys to understand, is really about being able to say no to the garbage and yes to the good stuff. And that is in its most basic, simple form. And of course, as you guys know, what we also really want for you is to have more freedom, to have energy, and to have the cash flow that you really want. And to us, a badass life is really that ability to be able to conquer the obstacles in your path and to keep on moving forward anyways. Because as we know, there's no magic bullet to ensure that you'll never come up against another obstacle. But really, we want to turn you into obstacle crushers. And for us, badass is that ability to just keep getting back up, to stay connected to your purpose, and to just feel amazing, right?
Well, yeah, I think, anybody out there who's listening to this as a business owner or entrepreneur, you may or may not have heard this. There's some truth to it, but I'm going to kind of bust the myth here. And one of the things that is the unknown trait of a successful entrepreneur or business owner or anybody in life is the ability to endure pain over a long period of time. I think us as Americans and as humans, or as business people, we have that ability to endure pain over a long period of time. That's why you're burning out. The thing that I'm going to bust on this is that it's really being able to look at the problem that comes up, because problems will always come up for you, and to not look at them as pain, but as to look at them as launching pads for success, as training mechanisms, as a way to build your badass muscle. So a badass, as Ellie says, it's really the ability to say no to bad stress and yes to good stress. And a lot of that is just the way you look at things. But there are some important decisions that you need to make. And so in this series that we're doing, it's 7 parts. We're talking about the 7 steps or the 7 shifts that the most successful people on the planet, having really good lives, right, and are super, super happy, that they've made in order to end their burnout. Because most people have gone through a burnout process in order to have incredible success. And how we can unveil those to you. And today we're talking about shift number 1, which is you need to ask yourself, how comfortable is your comfort zone?
Yeah. And if you want to end your burnout, if you want to get out now and Yeah, that comfort zone can get actually quite uncomfortable.
So let's do a little a little exercise here. What I want you to do right now is I want you to draw a circle. And inside that circle, I want you to put everything that you have right now. Now we're going to start with the easy stuff. You can write or draw the house or condo or apartment that you're living in, your living situation, the car or the vehicle that you have or don't have, right? The job you have, if you're married or not, if you've got kids. Let's write down what's in your closet, what's in your fridge right now. Let's write down. Let's kind of step out of this. Like, what do you do on the weekends? What's your traditional thing for doing on the weekends? What kind of books do you have? Do you have Netflix or HBO Go, or what kind of, streaming services do you have? Write all those things down. What's inside your comfort zone? What do you have right now? And be very detailed. If you've got a Toyota Celica from 1972 with a brown door on it, write that down. I don't know how I know that one. And so then when you've got that down, I want you to write all the things outside of that circle that you don't have, but you wish you did. And it could be, I don't know, more money, but be specific. How much more money do you want? It could be, I want to start traveling to the national parks and having adventurous experiences like all these people are posting online. Write it down. And once you've got all that down, then go back to your comfort zone and write the feelings of inside your comfort zone. When you look at your comfort zone, how does that make you feel? Do you feel scared? Do you feel afraid? Do you feel ashamed? But be honest with yourself and write those feelings down. And then look outside your comfort zone and all the things that you want, all the goals that you have, and write down what feelings would you have if you had those. Be pretty cool, right? So why is it we're intelligent people and we look at our comfort zone and we know that we don't really like it? So you have to be honest with yourself. The first step, or the first big shift, Elliot, is really to understand that your comfort zone is really not that comfortable, and to identify that, if you're just sick and tired of being in that place.
Yeah, definitely. If you list out, I guess, in that circle of what you have and the things that are making you uncomfortable, you'll definitely find that. And I think for me, when I started to realize that my comfort zone was not so comfy anymore, it was when staying where I was extremely difficult. I was in a lot of physical and emotional pain, but making the decision to do something different felt also equally scary, because it was like, well, what if this doesn't work? What if I make the wrong decision? What if I end up in a worse position than I already am now? Like, at least I kind of know this level of suffering, but what if I make a decision and it makes everything worse, right? And this is where people really get stuck in a catch-22, is what I like to call it. And, the other thing too is really just that whole thing about being so scared to make the wrong choice. It leaves you feeling paralyzed. Right? You're just like, you don't know what to do, and you're just completely stuck. And that's a really tough, difficult place to be.
Yes. So let's talk about paralyzed for a second. A lot of people don't even think they're paralyzed. And I firmly believe the most powerful prison is the one you don't know you're in. So look at your circle. And look at all the things that you have. And look at the feelings that you have of being inside that comfort zone. And, the reason you're inside of a circle, because a lot of people feel like there's a wall around it and they can't get out of it. But why is that? Why is it, Elia, that so many people feel like they're stuck inside the comfort zone? And, I think it kind of starts with the people that you're surrounded with. It's your surrounding group, right? Your support group.
Yeah, this is a really tough one, because we like to call it crabs in a bucket, and I'm sure maybe you guys have heard of this before too, but a lot of times we can feel like, okay, I need to make this big change, and so we go to our friends and our family, and sometimes we use them as a sounding board for like, should I do this? What do you think? And they want the best for you. And a lot of times their fear of you making the wrong decision gets in the way. And so they actually pull you back down into not making that big, bold move.
Yeah. So
because they want you to be careful.
Yeah. Right. So a great example would be, it's like, hey, I'm going to go after this new job. I'm going to go after this new promotion. And you're a family, a friend, or a colleague's like, why do you want to do that? Why can't you just be happy right here? Right? I'm sure people have heard that before. Or you're like, hey man, I'm going to start this business and I'm going to do this, and people are going to look at you like you're nuts. Like, to this day, Ellie and I always get people who look at us like we're nuts because we refuse to stay in a comfort zone. And the minute that we see our comfort zone getting too comfortable, we consciously get out of it. We take action to get out of it. And when people start looking at you like you're nuts, if you let that be absorbed into your body and your brain, you start forming neural networks and neural patterns and habits, and you start forming to them, telling yourself, I can't do that. This is why so many people, like, we're intelligent people. There's no shortage of information. We all know what we should be doing. We know we should be taking better care of ourselves. We know we should be eating this food. We know we shouldn't be dealing with this. We know we shouldn't be doing that. But yet we do. And it's because a lot of it is with the support group is actually keeping us down. Now, what's funny is, one of the things that the shifts that you've got to make, you've got to look at your support group and you've got to get rid of toxic relationships. And there are two ways to look at this. If there are people, colleagues, jobs, things like that, those are usually the easiest ones to get out of, even though there's the fear of income, but it always works out, trust me. But then the tougher ones are like family. And I know really, really well, I've got family on both sides. My parents divorced when I was younger. And, they are very supportive of me. But when I do things that are outside of their comfort zone, which are usually outside of my comfort zone, they usually tell me it's a bad idea, or they don't agree with it, or they don't think I'm going to be successful with it, or they'll kind of be like, oh, good luck, that kind of thing. And what that can do to the psyche really, really just paralyzes people. It can keep you stuck in there, just like you're trying to get out of the bucket, but the crab pulls you back down, right, Elio?
Yeah. And I always love to make this differentiation when we talk about toxic people, because I think I hear people saying this a lot right now. And I think what's really important, the distinction is a lot of times it's not necessarily that they're toxic people, but that our thoughts about them or their fearful thoughts are toxic to us, right? Because we're all walking around with a lot of these fears, and sometimes we're sharing that with other people, and we're really getting stuck in all of that fear. And so it's really a big question of, what are the thoughts that I'm having about this person or this idea or this concept that I really need to do in order to bust out of this not so comfortable zone, comfort zone, right? Got a lot of comfort in
so
there.
a lot of times, like, people don't realize that, and it's like, those are obstacles, right? Those little tiny conversations you have, those little tiny things that people tell you, and even body language, and they look at you like you're freaking crazy. Those are all obstacles, right? Those are all things that your brain has got to take in. It's got to make a decision. It's got to process it. And it's so much easier to tell yourself that you're not worth it and to build that story around it than it is to say, hey, everybody on this planet has the opportunity and deserves an abundant life, right? Just because they're scared, they're trying to protect me. They're not trying to drag you down. They're just trying to protect you. It's okay, but you've got to change your perception on that. Sometimes you've got to make a bold move to get out of there, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
go
ahead.
I was going to say, so what you really have to ask yourself is, look at your circle. Look at the stuff you have. Look at the feelings that are in there. And really ask yourself, one, is my comfort zone comfortable? Which I'm going to bet it's not. And number two, are you tired of being sick and tired?
Yeah, that's a very powerful question. Very powerful question. Because for a lot of us that struggle with burnout, we're actually really, really good at being determined and having grit. And we're actually really great at suffering. And I know this is going to sound crazy, but if you're burning out, you are good at suffering. And you have to ask yourself, do I want to be good at suffering? Or do I want to be good at having a badass life that makes me feel really good, that shows me I can have the freedom that I want, that I can do the things that I want, that I can have the energy and health that I want. And there's nothing fun about being the poster child for how much shit you can take. And I think that's a really important question. I've had to ask myself that a lot. Yeah.
I was totally that poster child. Like, look at me. Look at how much shit I can take. Look how strong I am. And now what's funny is, a lot of people think that burnout, that only fat people get burned out. I'm here to kind of lay down the truth here. Dude, I've been pretty darn healthy for a long time. I took care of my body, but what I didn't do is I didn't take care of a lot of stuff that was up here. And I was totally the poster child for look how much pain I can take. Look how much pain I can endure. And that's why for 12 years, Ellie and I had a retail shop and a manufacturing business in what would be considered a sexy ass industry, being in surfing and kiteboarding and skateboarding. And we had Red Bull athletes coming and staying over our house, but yet we were miserable, absolutely miserable, especially the last 6 years. 6 years. And then we didn't do anything about it because we're like, endurance. And guys, this is not about how much pain you can endure. That is definitely a good trait to have. But it's really about taking the pains that come up and turning them into something extraordinary as fast as you can. So if you want to get out of your comfort zone, Elia, how do you get out of your comfort zone? How do you make that bold action to get out of your comfort zone and create a new comfort zone?
Yeah, the biggest thing there is really taking bold action. You just have to take action and you have to trust. And here's the thing that someone said to me at one point when I really was like, I am so paralyzed and I don't know what decision to make, which was just make a decision. And remember, you can always change that decision, right? But what you need is you need to be able to take a step forward, because when you're in that paralyzed situation, nothing good is going to come from that. Nothing of any possible outcome when you're paralyzed is not good. So it's always about taking that first step, because you need to start building a little bit of momentum. And again, if it turns out to be the wrong step, maybe you should have taken a left instead of a right, whatever, then you get to choose again, but you've got to keep moving forward.
Yeah. So guys, so here's something that's really, really important, that you need to, if we are with our clients, it's all about, accountability. It's really about supporting each other. It's really about turning obstacles into success really, really fast. And what the strategy that we use is really, really simple. But just to let you know, just because the strategy is simple does not mean it's easy. And the strategy we use is move, think, smile. And it's all about, make a bold move, think differently, and you're going to smile more. Simple, right? It's not that easy. And it's really, and if you want to turn your burnout into badass, I can tell you right now, and you're going to try and do it by yourself, it's impossible, or it's very impossible. It's likely impossible that you're going to turn your burnout to your badass by yourself if you're staying in the comfort zone and you've got crabs in the bucket pulling you down and you don't have a good system in place to get there. So there's a couple things that you really got to kind of look at. It's like, what kind of support group do I need? You're in here right now. So that's step number one. That's really good.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the other thing I want to point out too is maybe you're like thinking, well, how do I know if my comfort zone is not too comfy? I mean, maybe you're kind of like thinking, well, I'm okay right now. At least I'm safe. Right. But I want to give you some clues as to what might be happening or what you might be thinking about if your comfort zone is starting to really close in on you. And one of the big telltale signs is that, you've got some friends or colleagues or whatever, and they share really great news with you and you're so excited for them because you just are really, really stoked. But there's like this pang in your gut because you now realize that you haven't had some really great news to share with them in a really, really long time. And you feel like a deep sadness that feels very contradictory because you're so excited for them. And yet it also is a mirror back to you that you don't have what you want. That's one really, really big sign. Another one is the feeling of knowing that you could be doing something better, knowing that you could be better. And again, watching everyone else achieve the goals that you really want, and you're still stuck in the same place. So those are probably two of the biggest ones. Are there any that come to your mind, Adam?
I think, when you're talking about, how to determine if you're in a good place or not, right? How do I know if my comfort zone is where I need to be? How do I know if my comfort zone is really uncomfortable? And one question I like to ask is, do I have or have I had a goal for more than 1 year, a dream that I haven't been able to get to, right? And a lot of times it's more than a year. It's like 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, even 10 years that I haven't been able to get to.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
One of my goals, a personal fitness goal was to be able to run 9-minute trail miles. And I always wanted to do it, but I never ran. So it's really hard to run 9-minute trail miles if you never run. So there's a little bit of a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So my goal wasn't lining up to my actions, right?
Yeah.
And look at that. So are the actions you're taking, are they equaling the goal that you want, the result that you want? And if they're not, then your comfort zone isn't very comfortable because you're not achieving the results that you want. If you're not achieving your results that you want, oh my God, what are the side effects? You're not having a positive impact on the world like you wish you could be. You're not getting the freedom you want. Of course, your energy is going down. That's why there's anxiety and fatigue in there. You might be sleeping a little bit at night, but maybe it's just not the deep sleep that you used to get. And those are all pretty serious physical symptoms that often land people in the hospital.
Yeah, and I love to say it like this. It's like, do you find yourself spending more time just trying to cope instead of conquering? So coping versus conquering.
Yeah,
and how much time are you spending in each of those areas?
Yeah, that's a huge difference. So let's talk about coping for a second. And the technical term is going to be stress management. And we have seen time and time again, and we've experienced time and time again, stress management strategies that are Band-Aids. They cover up the bullet wound, they relieve the symptoms, but they do not fix the problem. The problem is still there for a long time. In my opinion, if you have a strategy to change something, right, it should work in 8 to 12 weeks max. 8 to 12 weeks. We know that you can change the human brain and create new habits and new patterns in 4 to 6 weeks, right? Mm-hmm. So I like to say 8 to 12 weeks. Let's just give it a little time because there's obstacles in the way. Life comes up, kids, problems, fires, stuff like that. And it takes some time to turn stuff. But if you can't change your life to what you want it to be 8 to 12 weeks, then you're doing the wrong thing. Or you're not committed to it.
Yeah, spinning your wheels for sure.
You're spinning your wheels.
Mm-hmm.
So guys, there's no reason to have to stay in a comfort zone that is uncomfortable. And if you're really wanting to, take action, which is what you need to do, and you're tired of being where you are, and you've got this goal and you want to be there, but people have been telling you that, no, you don't need to do it, or no, you're fine right here. It's just bullshit. Everybody deserves to live their dream. Everybody deserves to hit that goal. Everybody deserves to live a badass life. And if the strategies that you're using right now, like stress management, aren't getting you there, then you need to take a hard look at them. I remember I would go to Bikram yoga, which is hot yoga, where it's basically you do yoga for 90 minutes and it's friggin' hot, right? And I would walk out of there feeling great for about 36 hours. But it didn't fix the problem. The reason I felt great because I was exhausted, right? It sweated so much, it exhausted me so much that I couldn't even think or latch onto the anxiety. So as a stress management technique for like temporary relief, it's great. But does it fix the problem? No. Back in the days when I was listening to psychology discs and programs on achievement and, increasing your sales and all this kind of stuff, they were temporary. They didn't fix the inherent problem. Sure, I learned a couple skills, but it didn't really get in there. And I remember when I was in therapy, I hated it. I hated it. Oh my God, I've been in therapy so many times. The first time I was in therapy was actually for a speech impediment that I had when I was in the second grade. And I would have to go in there with the therapist and watch myself talk into a mirror, listen to it on a tape recorder, the big old square rectangular ones, and listen to myself. And it's like, Adam, you're not talking properly. And I'm like, but I think I'm talking fine. You know, my teeth had come in the right way or whatever it was yet. And I remember then they're like, well, what, you're not going to be like the other kids. And so from an early age, I had professional school therapists telling me that I wasn't going to be good enough because I couldn't talk right. Right. And that extended into my teens and my 20s and IQ tests and all these other testings and getting on I was on Prozac and Zoloft and Lexicor and all these other medications. And sure, they helped kind of numb out some of the symptoms, but man, I mean, maybe I wasn't feeling the anxiety as bad and the depression as bad, but I wasn't happy either. And I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. And for me, the therapy and the medications, they didn't work. And I can talk about numerous other stress management tactics and strategies that I tried following kind of conventional wisdom that just did not work for me.
I think the biggest point here for me is that when you have to do so many coping mechanisms, when you have to spend like half your day just managing your stress and doing stress relief tactics, that's a big red sign that something in your life really needs to shift. Because 100% hands down, absolutely, there's a place for stress management. You need it. I've used it a million times. It's helped me in so many ways. But when you're doing it all the time and now you're doing more stress management than really living your life, taking your Saturday mornings just to try to decompress and not really doing anything fun that you really want, this is again where it's a big red flag that some things need to shift in your life so that you don't have to spend all your downtime managing stress. Right. That's really, really key.
Right. As Ellie said, the big question to ask is, am I coping or am I conquering?
Yeah.
And with the people that with us, we were coping, right? And with the clients that come into Move Think Smile, they are coping too. And the strategy says it doesn't work. And they finally got to the point where they're like, I am sick and tired of being in a comfort zone. That sucks. I'm in a comfort zone. I know what I should be doing, but I can't do it. Mm-hmm. And I know what I shouldn't be doing, but I can't stop that. And I'm tired of living this life. I'm ready to get rid of my burnout. I'm ready to head into the kingdom of badass. And I want to be able to, say no to the garbage and enjoy more of what's good. I want to have more of a positive impact on the world, I want to have the freedom to travel. I don't want to be strapped by, all these worries about money and finances and all this stuff or a bad relationship. And I'm tired of my wife or my husband telling me I'm not good enough or no, we shouldn't do that or just hold me here, right? Mm-hmm. So guys, if that's you and your strategies aren't working, we'd like to invite you to have a call with us. You can go to movethinksmile.com/talk. And
just tell us what's going on. We're going to help you get really clear on what it is that you need to do next in order to end burnout. Like we've been talking about here, I mean, the comfort zone, if this resonates with you, if you get it, it's really important you start making the shifts to get out of it, because the more you stay there, the worse it gets. And like Adam kind of hinted to at the beginning here too, there are a lot of myths about burnout, and we can talk about that in another live. But one big thing I want to say is you don't necessarily have to hate what you're doing to be burning out. In fact, in order to burn out, you've got to have a burning passion. So when we talk about our retail shop and what we did, we loved our customers. We loved what we did. We loved that entire thing, but we were miserable because we were disconnected from our purpose. We were overwhelmed. We were all of these different things, and that we had lost our passion, really.
Well, I'm going to switch that up a little bit, Elliot. We did what we loved.
Yeah.
Okay. We did not love what we did.
Yeah.
That was the big difference. That's why we started burning out. Mm-hmm. We did what we loved, and that was a problem. And that was one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made in my life, and no one taught me that to me. Never do what you love. Love what you do.
Yep. Good distinction.
That's a big, big distinction on the old comfort zone there. So guys, if you're in a comfort zone, you're feeling stuck, and go to movethinksmile.com/talk, schedule a time. You'll speak with your LA or myself to about 45 minutes. You can tell us about all the stuff that's not working for you. You can tell us about the goals that you have. You can tell us about what would it be like if you had the freedom, the energy, and the cash flow that you want. What would that feel like? And and if you need help, and if people are just kind of dragging you down, right, Elliot?
Yeah, definitely. Yes. All right, guys. Well, we hope that you got a lot out of our live today as we discussed the comfort zone and breaking out of a not so comfortable one as the first big step to ending burnout. So like Adam said, this is a series that we're doing.
There's 7. So We're doing a 7-part series on the 7 steps or the 7 shifts to end your burnout. This is number 1. How comfortable is your comfort zone? And if it's not feeling that comfortable, please, guys, go to movethinksmile.com/talk. Tell us about it. We'll talk about, we're going to get really clear on 3 things. We're going to get clear on, what's really burning you out, what's really causing your anxiety, your fatigue, and, all the problems that you're having. Sometimes they're physical problems. Sometimes they're just a lot of stress, not sleeping. We're going to get clear on what would it be like if you could really hit your goals, right? If you had the freedom, if you could make that impact. And then we're going to, if we feel like we're a good fit, we can talk about the exact strategies that you can use to end your burnout and turn it into something totally badass. So guys, we'll see you soon on the next episode. In shift number 2, we'll be talking about the real costs of burnout. This is very, very important because this is something most people do not consider in their lives, of what stress, anxiety, and fatigue are really costing them. And the numbers are phenomenally huge. Now, if you're listening to us on iTunes, on our podcast, please come over to the group, Burnout to Badass. It's on Facebook. It's pretty easy to find. We're the only Burnout to Badass people on the planet that we're currently aware of. And guys, or download it, listen to it in your car. That's fine. And if you have any questions, feel free to private message either Elia or myself if it's very personal, or post in comments down below. We're fine with that too. So however we can help you, please let us know. Please let us know if you have any concerns or questions or topics that you would like us to talk about in the future. So guys.
Yeah, and real quick, before we go. I would also love to invite everyone, if there's something that we said today that really resonated with you, if there was a sentence, a phrase, something that really popped out at you, be sure to place it in the comments, because people watching these lives later down the road may see what you've written, and it may really help them out, especially if they don't watch all the way through. All right, that's it for me. You all good, Adam?
All right, we'll see you guys next week.
Okay.
Thanks for tuning in to today's Burnout to Badass show. If you like what you heard and you're interested in seeing if you are fit to work with Move, Think, Smile, here's what I want you to do next. Head over to movethinksmile.com/talk. That's movethinksmile.com/talk and book an appointment to speak to our team. We'll get on the phone with you for about 45 minutes and get crystal clear on 3 things. Number 1, what exactly is burning you out? Number 2, exactly what your inner badass would rather be doing. And number 3, the exact strategy for you to feel alive again and start kicking ass at home and work. Remember, conquering anything difficult alone is crazy. Creating extraordinary change in your life does not happen by itself. You need expert guidance to make it happen, a team to pick you up when you want to quit and actually get you to the finish line. We've helped clients all over the world turn their burnout into a badass with a mental motorcycle jacket who says no to garbage and enjoys more of what's good, so they can finally feel alive again, unplug from work without sacrificing their career, with enough energy and free time to have incredible adventures with people they love. To see if we can help you do the same, head on over to movethinksmile.com/talk. I'm Adam Von Enns, co-founder, Move, Think, Smile, and recovering stress addict. Talk soon.